There's something strangely beautiful about homes that defy reason. Picture this, a tiny village perched atop a towering cliff, a treehouse whispering secrets through rustling leaves, a lone house clinging to bare rock, laughing in the face of gravity, or a UFO-shaped shelter teetering on a hillside as if it might lift off with the next gust of wind. These aren't just structures, they're statements, bold, bizarre, and breathtaking. You might be used to the comfort of four walls and a stable floor, but these homes live on the edge, literally. They challenge what we think a home should be and where it should stand. So today we're going on a journey across the world to discover some of the most daring, most precarious, and most awe-inspiring homes ever built. Places that make you stop and ask, who would live here? And more importantly, would you? Fanjing, Shan, temples above the clouds. Imagine living at the peak of a mountain so remote, even a drone would hesitate to deliver. That's the reality atop China's Fanjing Shan, a towering golden summit rising above the mists, known to locals as the Red Cloud's Golden Summit. Perched on this sacred spine of rock are two ancient temples, clinging to either side of a dizzying gorge. Built during the Tang Dynasty in the 7th century, these temples are more than architectural marvels. They're vessels of spiritual meaning. One is dedicated to the Buddha, symbolizing enlightenment. The other, the Meteora Temple, represents the future. A narrow stone bridge, no wider than a hallway, connects them, suspended over a chasm so steep it could test even the steadiest soul. Getting here isn't easy. Pilgrims and seekers must climb hundreds of stone steps carved into the raw mountain face, over 330 feet above the surrounding peaks. Every step is an effort and a revelation. But once you reach the top, the world changes. The clouds drift below you, wrapping the temples in a veil of silence and wonder. The air is thin, but the spirit feels full. It's no surprise this site has earned UNESCO World Heritage status. More than just a place of worship, Fanjing Shan is a reminder that the highest truths often require the hardest climbs. Meteora, monasteries in the sky. High above the valleys of Thessaly, Greece, stone towers rise from the earth like something born of myth. Pillars of rock so surreal, they look painted into the landscape. But what crowns them is even more astonishing. Ancient monasteries clinging to their peaks as if suspended between heaven and earth. In the 13th and 14th centuries, monks fled to these natural fortresses in search of solitude and safety. They built 24 monasteries atop these inaccessible cliffs, far from the chaos of wars and empires. Of those, only 6 remain today, and each one stands as a silent sentinel of faith, perseverance, and divine longing. Back then, reaching these sanctuaries required ladders and rope nets dangled from above. Outsiders couldn't climb up, and monks could simply pull the ladders in times of danger. They weren't just high, they were hidden in the sky. Among them, the great Meteora Monastery became the crown jewel. Built between 1356 and 1372, it offered refuge from political unrest and a place for deep spiritual contemplation, above the noise, beneath the heavens. It wasn't until the 1920s that stone steps were carved into the cliffs, finally opening these sky temples to the world below. Today, Meteora is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a pilgrimage not only for the religious, but for all who seek wonder. Because here, nature and human devotion meet in one breathtaking moment, and it's impossible to leave without feeling changed. Castellfollit de la Roca, a village suspended in time. In the rugged heart of Catalonia, Spain, there is a village that seems to float, Castellfollit de la Roca. Perched atop a narrow basalt cliff, 160 feet above the confluence of the Fluvia and Torinel rivers, this medieval town stands where lava once flowed, and where time now lingers. It is a place of both beauty and danger, where nature and humanity meet at the edge. Formed by layers of ancient volcanic rock, the cliff provides a foundation that's as dramatic as it is unlikely. And built upon it are stone homes, clustered tightly along cobbled streets, leaning out toward the void as if listening to the wind. The town dates back to the Middle Ages, and today around 1,000 people still call it home. Their lives unfold daily on a precipice, in houses that cling to the cliffside like moss on stone, facing the green valleys below. Photographers come here to chase light and angles. Travelers come to feel the thrill of standing where others dared to build. And everyone leaves with the same quiet thought. How has it lasted? Castellfollit de la Roca is more than picturesque. It is resilient, rooted, fragile, strong. A reminder that even on the very edge of the earth, life not only survives, it creates something breathtaking. The Hanging Temple, where faith clings to stone. Modern skyscrapers might scrape the sky with steel and glass, but long before their rise, a temple in China was already defying gravity and time. Carved into the cliffs of Shanxi province, the Hanging Temple has clung to vertical rock for over 1,500 years. Built in the 5th century by a solitary monk named Liaoran, this monastery is more than a marvel of architecture. It's an act of spiritual defiance. Wooden beams, wedged into hand-chiseled holes in the stone, suspend 40 rooms in midair, a dizzying labyrinth of narrow passageways, balconies, and quiet chambers. Within them, you'll find intricate carvings of stone, terracotta, copper, and iron, each honoring not one, but 3 of China's great traditions: Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism. A rare union of faiths suspended between earth and sky. And yet this precarious perch was no accident. By building high above ground, the temple was shielded from floods, enemies, and even time itself. Restoration has preserved its spirit, but it's the cliff that continues to hold it, steady and silent. Stand beneath it and you feel 2 things at once: awe and humility. It's not just a building, it's proof of what happens when human devotion meets impossible terrain. Fallingwater, where architecture becomes nature. Hidden deep in the forested hills of southwestern Pennsylvania, there's a house that doesn't just sit in nature, it becomes part of it. This is Fallingwater. Designed by the legendary Frank Lloyd Wright in the late 1930s, it wasn't meant to be just a weekend escape. It was meant to be a revolution in how we live with the land. Commissioned by Pittsburgh department store owners Edgar and Lillian Kaufman, Fallingwater could have simply offered a view of a beautiful waterfall. But Wright had a bolder vision. He didn't just frame the waterfall, he built over it. The sound of rushing water would echo through the home. The movement of the falls would become part of everyday life. Every stone, every slab of concrete was placed to honor the flow of the earth itself. But this wasn't just poetic, it was daring. Wright's cantilever design pushed the limits of what was possible, with parts of the house jutting into open space, supported only by hidden reinforcements. At the time, many engineers doubted it would even hold. But it did, and it still does. Completed in 1937, Fallingwater has since become one of the most iconic homes in the world. visited by over 150,000 people each year. In 2019, it earned a place on the UNESCO World Heritage List, joining the ranks of the world's most treasured cultural landmarks. More than a building, Fallingwater is a philosophy in stone and steel, a reminder that human creativity doesn't have to conquer nature. It can listen to it, flow with it, and even live within it. The Chemosphere, a UFO you can live in. Perched above a steep Los Angeles hillside, it doesn't look like a house. It looks like it's preparing for liftoff. Welcome to the Chemosphere, a futuristic icon of modern architecture that's been challenging our ideas of home since the 1960s. Designed by visionary architect John Lautner, this bold residence features an octagonal layout, hovering 30 feet in the air atop a single, narrow, 5-foot-wide concrete column. The terrain it occupies, a 45-degree slope once deemed unbuildable, became the canvas for one of the most daring feats of residential design in American history. To combat California's unpredictable weather, from heavy rains to earthquakes, the column was deeply anchored into the ground, stabilizing the entire structure. From afar, the Chemosphere appears to float, earning comparisons to a UFO silently watching over the hills. Inside, the home offers 2,200 square feet of living space, wrapped in glass, flooded with light, and surrounded by panoramic views of Los Angeles. It's not just livable, it's legendary. And yet, despite its acclaim, the Chemosphere wasn't always an easy sell. For years, it functioned primarily as a rental property, too bold for conventional buyers, too strange for the market. But that changed in 2004, when it was officially declared a Los Angeles Historic Cultural Monument, securing its place in the city's architectural legacy. Today, the Chemosphere isn't just admired, it's studied. A reminder that when bold vision meets determination, the result can literally rise above the limits of gravity and tradition. Habitat 67, where geometry meets the future. In a world where city skylines are dominated by glass towers and cookie-cutter apartments, Habitat 67 stands apart, bold, strange, and visionary. This iconic housing complex in Montreal, Canada, was the brainchild of a young architect named Moshe Safdie. Conceived as his master's thesis at McGill University, it would become one of the most daring experiments in urban living ever built. Created for the 1967 World Expo, Habitat 67 is made up of 354 prefabricated concrete modules, each weighing about 90 tons. But what makes it truly extraordinary is how they're arranged, not in neat stacks, but in a stepped, interlocking pyramid that rises 12 stories into the sky. The result? Every apartment gets something almost unheard of in dense urban spaces: a private terrace. Sunlight, air, privacy, all built into a modular maze of concrete where no two units are exactly alike. Originally, Safdie envisioned 1,000 units to create affordable, accessible housing for many. But budget constraints cut that dream short. Only 158 apartments were built. And while its initial rental model struggled, everything changed when the units were sold as private residences. Today, they're prized real estate. Living in Habitat 67 means owning a piece of modernist history, a concrete sculpture you can call home, with price tags that now exceed $1 million. Yet the value of Habitat 67 isn't just in what it costs, but in what it represents. A refusal to accept boring. A reimagining of how we live. A timeless symbol of what happens when creativity dares to break the mold. WoZoCo Apartments, where creativity hangs in the air. In a country where land is as precious as gold, space becomes an art form. In Amsterdam, the architects behind the WoZoCo apartments faced a challenge: how to house 100 families in a single building without blocking sunlight for the neighbors next door. Their solution? Bold, playful, brilliant. 13 of the apartments were cantilevered, suspended like puzzle pieces from the north face of the building, jutting out into midair with no visible support below. From a distance, they looked like floating cubes, defying gravity and tradition at once. But these apartments aren't just clever, they're beautiful. Each one has its own rhythm, with balconies of different shapes and sizes, unique window designs, and materials that give every unit its own personality. What began as a practical solution to a spatial dilemma became something more, a modern landmark of Dutch innovation. WoZoCo shows us that high density doesn't have to mean dull, that even strict urban planning can leave room for whimsy, and that sometimes the boldest ideas hang just outside the box. Puerta de Europa, the Leaning Towers of Madrid. In the heart of Madrid, Spain, two skyscrapers stand tall and slightly off balance. The Puerta de Europa towers, also known as the Gate of Europe, aren't just impressive because they reach 114 meters into the sky. What makes them unforgettable is that they do so while leaning at a 15-degree angle. A bold architectural choice that defies gravity and expectation in equal measure. Designed by legendary American architects Philip Johnson and John Burgee, these twin towers were completed in 1996. But building them wasn't easy. Tilting a skyscraper on purpose meant rhythm rewriting the rules of engineering. Special counterweights and structural reinforcements had to be developed just to keep them standing, stable against wind, weight, and time. And yet, they don't just stand. They command the skyline. With their futuristic angles and perfect symmetry, the Puerta de Europa towers have become icons of modern Madrid, a gateway to the city's financial district and a symbol of innovation in urban design. They've even made appearances in pop culture, including the cult Spanish film The Day of the Beast. Whether you see them as architectural masterpieces or vertigo-inducing monoliths, one thing is certain: you can't look away. They remind us that progress isn't always upright, and that sometimes the boldest ideas lean into the unknown. Free spirit spheres, sleeping among the trees. Imagine waking up high in the treetops, cradled by branches, as birdsong drifts through the morning air and sunlight filters softly through the leaves. This isn't a dream, it's free spirit spheres, a place where architecture meets forest and the soul finds stillness. Tucked into the old-growth rainforests of Vancouver Island, Canada, these spherical tree houses offer a one-of-a-kind retreat into nature's embrace. Suspended several meters above the forest floor, each sphere is secured by ropes that stretch like spider silk across at least 3 sturdy trees, creating a delicate, stable balance between tension and gravity. There are 3 spheres in total, each with its own character. 2 are handcrafted from warm wood, radiating an earthy, organic charm. The third is made of sleek fiberglass, offering a smooth, modern contrast, yet still in harmony with its surroundings. Getting there is part of the adventure. Guests climb spiral staircases that wrap around tree trunks or tiptoe across swaying suspension bridges, each step inviting you deeper into the forest, into something that feels like a fairy tale. Inside, the spheres are cozy sanctuaries. Large panoramic windows dissolve the boundary between shelter and wild. Light spills in. The forest becomes part of the room. Adjustable lighting allows you to set the mood, whether it's bright and open to the day, or dim and tranquil by twilight. The goal of Free Spirit Spheres is simple, yet profound: to create a space of unity with nature, where the noise of modern life falls away, and all that's left is breath, stillness, and wonder. Here, you don't just sleep among the trees, you become part of them. Korowai treehouses, life above the canopy. Deep in the untamed jungles of Papua, Indonesia, the Korowai people have built a life not on the forest floor, but far above it. Their homes rise like wooden towers, some reaching heights of over 35 meters, 115 feet. These aren't just shelters in the trees, they're strongholds, symbols of survival, resilience, and a way of life adapted to one of the world's most challenging environments. Until the 1970s, the outside world had never heard of the Korowai. But for generations, they've lived as hunter-gatherers, navigating the rainforest with a profound understanding of its rhythms, dangers, and spirits. Building high in the treetops protects them from jungle predators, disease-carrying mosquitoes, and, according to their beliefs, malevolent forces that wander the ground below. The process of building a treehouse is nothing short of engineering genius. A massive banyan tree is chosen for its strength. Its top is removed to serve as a central support. Floors are crafted from thick branches, while walls and roofs are woven from palm leaves. Wooden poles and living trees help anchor the structure, allowing it to bend, not break, with the jungle's ever-changing moods. And it's not a solitary task. The entire village gathers, climbing, lashing, shaping, until a new home stands tall among the treetops. Each house reflects the ingenuity and close-knit spirit of the Korowai. And while many still live in the old ways, some now collaborate with eco-tourism projects, inviting the world to witness their traditions, and in doing so, bringing new opportunities to their people. These treetop sanctuaries remind us that survival isn't just about strength, it's about harmony. With each home that rises above the forest, the Korowai prove that tradition and adaptation can grow side by side, high above the ground, rooted in the wisdom of the trees. Takasugi-an, the tea house that rises above it all. High in the chestnut trees of Nagano, Japan, there sits a tea house unlike any other, whimsical, quiet, and just a little bit impossible. Its name, Takasugi-an, literally means a tea house built too high, but that's exactly the point. Balanced atop two tall chestnut trunks, this sky-high retreat was designed by architect Terunobu Fujimori, not for clients, but for himself. A personal sanctuary above the noise, where the rituals of tea and reflection meet the purity of the sky. Reaching it is part of the experience. Guests must climb two wooden ladders, stopping halfway to remove their shoes. A moment of pause before the final ascent. The climb feels less like entering a building and more like stepping into another state of mind. Inside, it's quiet and warm. Bamboo mats, plaster walls, a floor just large enough for 4.5 tatami, a space so modest it becomes sacred. From the windows, sweeping views of Fujimori's childhood town stretch in every direction. But no traffic, no tech, no distractions, just wind, leaves, and the soft breath of stillness. More than just a design experiment, Takasugi-an is a reminder. We don't always need more space, just the right space. A space to disconnect, to reflect, to sip, to breathe. In a world rushing forward, this little house among the branches dares to slow down. And in doing so, it rises far above. The Drina River House, a shelter in the current. In the heart of Western Serbia, where the Drina River winds between hills and silence, there sits a tiny house, alone, defiant, and beautifully out of place. Perched on a solitary rock near the town of Bajina Basta, the Drina River House seems to float above the rushing water, a rustic wooden cabin that challenges both gravity and common sense. From a distance, it looks like a dream, or a painting. Up close, it tells a story. It began in 1968 when a group of local swimmers, sunburnt and seeking shade, climbed onto the rock to rest. Moved by the serenity of the spot, they decided to build a simple shelter using whatever they could carry: wood, tools, and ambition, all brought over by boat and kayak. But nature had its own plans. The river is powerful here, rising without warning, crashing with force. Over the years, the house was destroyed at least 7 times. Each time, the people of the town rebuilt it, stronger, smarter, more determined. Concrete reinforcements were eventually added. Even so, the Drina tested them. And yet, the house still stands. Since 2011, it has endured, not as a home, but as a symbol. A quiet tribute to resilience, simplicity, and the delicate balance between human hands and natural forces. Visitors from around the world come not for luxury, but for wonder, drawn to this modest miracle in the middle of a river where dreams drift but don't drown. Because in the end, the Drina River house isn't just a place. It's a promise that even the smallest things can stand firm when built with love. The Thousand Islands, where land, water, and wonder meet. Stretching 80 kilometers along the winding St. Lawrence River, the Thousand Islands region is one of North America's most magical natural wonders. A sprawling archipelago that forms a breathtaking border between Canada and the United States. Despite its name, the Thousand Islands are actually 1,864 in total, each one with its own shape, soul, and story. Some are vast, forested landscapes measuring over 100 square kilometers. Others are nothing more than rocky specks, just large enough for a few birds to rest. This wild variety is what makes the region so enchanting. No 2 islands are alike. Some cradle summer homes built by tycoons of the Gilded Age, their mansions still standing as echoes of a time when the Thousand Islands were a millionaire's retreat. Others remain untouched, quiet, green, mysterious. Today, the islands are a haven for adventurers and nature lovers. River cruises glide between the shores, revealing hidden castles, sunken ships, and secret corners rich with history. Kayakers paddle silently between the trees. Anglers cast into clear waters. And travelers from around the world come simply to breathe it all in, to let the beauty of land and river blur into one unforgettable experience. There are museums, stories, legends, and for those who visit, memories that linger long after the boat has docked. So now we leave you with a question. If you could live in one of the extraordinary homes we've explored today, which would you choose? Would you perch atop a cliff in Bhutan, sleep among the trees in Canada, float over a waterfall in Pennsylvania, or lose yourself in the hush of an island far from everything? Whatever your answer, don't just dream it, explore it. Thanks for joining us on this journey to the world's most daring homes. Don't forget to check out our other videos, and until next time, stay curious. Tiger's Nest Monastery, a journey through air and spirit. Clinging to the sheer face of a cliff, 10,000 feet above sea level, the Tiger's Nest Monastery seems less like something built and more like something born. Locally known as Paro Taksang, this sacred site is the beating heart of Bhutan's spiritual heritage, a place where legend, devotion, and nature become one. Suspended high above the lush Paro Valley, the monastery appears to defy gravity, its white walls and golden roofs emerging from stone, as if conjured by prayer. But getting there is no small feat. First comes the drive, a winding, switchback journey that snakes through mountains and pine forests. Then the real test begins, a steep uphill hike that carves through dense woodland, growing thinner with air and richer with silence. As you climb, oxygen levels drop. 80% near the base, just 70% at the monastery, making each step feel heavier, each breath a meditation. And yet, people come. From every corner of the world, seasoned trekkers, spiritual pilgrims, curious souls in their 50s, 60s, even 70s, all drawn by something deeper than tourism. The trail is tough, but the reward is eternal. At the summit, the view takes your breath in the best way. The valley spreads wide beneath you. The monastery radiates a peace that words can't hold. Time slows. The air stills. Tiger's Nest isn't just a destination. It's a pilgrimage of body, mind, and soul. Katskhi Pillar, a church between earth and heaven. Rising like a silent sentinel above the lush valley of Katsura in western Georgia, the Katskhi Pillar is a 130-foot limestone monolith, bold, narrow, and seemingly unreachable. At its summit, something extraordinary awaits. A tiny stone church, perched impossibly atop the rock. Locals call it the Pillar of Life, and once you've seen it, it's easy to understand why. Built as early as the 9th or 10th century, this mountaintop sanctuary holds a crypt, a humble wine cellar, and a monk's living quarters, remnants of a life spent in solitude, prayer, and quiet defiance of the world below. And yet for centuries, this pillar remained mostly a mystery. It wasn't until the 1940s that researchers even began to study it seriously, and not until 1999 that its secrets truly began to unfold. But perhaps that's part of its power. The remoteness has protected its spirit. It has endured, untouched by time, like a lighthouse for the faithful. Climbing the Katskhi Pillar is no easy task. The ascent is steep and unforgiving, but the view from the top? Unforgettable. A sweeping panorama of Georgia's green valleys and the silent wonder of having reached a place where heaven feels just a little closer. This is more than stone. It's a symbol of devotion, discipline, and the human spirit reaching upward against all odds. Cliff Village, where life hangs by a ladder. In the mountains of Sichuan Province, China, there's a village that clings to the side of a cliff, a place where survival isn't taken for granted, but earned with every step. Atulair, often simply called Cliff Village, is home to around 80 families. Perched at 1,400 meters above sea level, it hangs above an 800-meter vertical drop. For generations, the only connection to the outside world was a series of 17 rattan ladders, hand-woven from vines and bamboo, tied together like a lifeline swaying in the wind. These ladders weren't a novelty. They were how children went to school, how families brought home supplies, how life moved, slowly, dangerously, vertically. But the cost was steep. At least 8 villagers lost their lives on those climbs. Others carried scars, physical and emotional, from years of precarious ascents. Everything changed in 2016 when a photojournalist named Chen Ji brought the village's story to national attention. The world was stunned, and so was the Chinese government. Steel ladders with safety railings soon replaced the bamboo ones, making life just a little less perilous. By 2020, the transformation was in full swing. Modern housing developments were built closer to town centers, complete with running water, electricity, and kitchens. Many villagers chose to relocate, but some, about 30 families, remained, holding tight to ancestral homes and a way of life few can understand. Today, Cliff Village stands as a symbol, not of poverty, but of perseverance. It's a living reminder that even in the harshest places, people build lives, raise children, and climb, not just toward survival, but toward dignity. Lichtenstein Castle, a fairy tale on the edge. Perched on the edge of a jagged cliff in the Swabian Alps of southern Germany, Lichtenstein Castle looks less like a real place and more like a scene torn from the pages of a fairy tale. Overlooking the quiet village of Honau far below, its towers rise dramatically from the rock, cloaked in mist and mystery. And while it may feel like a relic of the Middle Ages, this enchanting castle was actually built in 1842, not as a fortress, but as a hunting lodge inspired by romantic medieval ideals. But the ground it stands on holds a far older legacy. Centuries earlier, in the 1100s, a much older stronghold once guarded this very cliff, a place of knights, stone, and forgotten battles. One of the castle's most remarkable moments came during World War II. A tank shell struck its main tower, but didn't explode. That twist of fate spared the castle from ruin and allowed its story to continue, untouched, almost miraculously. Today, Lichtenstein Castle opens its doors from spring through fall, welcoming travelers into a world of aristocratic charm, ornate interiors, and panoramic views that stretch beyond time. It's not just a destination, it's a daydream in stone, a place where romance, history, and daring architecture meet at the edge of the world. The Sutyagin House, a wooden dream that reached too far. In the icy northern city of Arkhangelsk, Russia, stands a structure that looks like it wandered out of a fairy tale, or perhaps the set of a surreal fantasy film. Soaring 144 feet into the sky, the Sutyagin House once held the title of the world's tallest wooden home. With its spires, balconies, and irregular silhouette, it appeared almost magical, a tower of timber that refused to follow any blueprint. But behind the wonder lies a much heavier story. It began in 1992 with a modest dream. Local businessman Nikolai Sutyagin set out to build a simple two-story house. But after discovering the ornate wooden architecture of Japan and Norway, his vision grew and grew. Driven by imagination rather than engineering, he kept adding floors. One level became 5, 5 became 13. With no formal plans and little structural oversight, his wooden tower became a symbol of ambition, creativity, and chaos. But dreams built too high often tremble. Critics came, legal troubles followed, then prison. While he was away, rivals moved in on his businesses, and his fortune disappeared. Today, Sutyagin lives in just a few sparsely heated rooms at the base of his decaying creation. The rest of the house stands like a ghost of what could have been, weathered, abandoned, crumbling inch by inch. The Sutyagin House isn't just a monument to imagination. It's a cautionary tale of what happens when vision soars beyond means, and when a dream, no matter how wondrous, grows faster than the hands that build it. Middle Sedge Island, when dreams wash away. Once hailed as a hidden paradise in Barnegat Bay, New Jersey, Middle Sedge Island was the kind of place people dreamed about and paid millions to call their own. In 2010, it was listed for $6.5 million. A 6,000 square foot estate, a guest house, 14 acres of private, pristine land, completely self-contained, yet still connected to the mainland with water, electricity, and gas. A retreat built for peace, privacy, and prestige. But nature doesn't care about price tags. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy tore through the East Coast. Middle Sedge didn't stand a chance. The storm battered its foundation, flooded its structures, and peeled away its opulence piece by piece. What was once a showpiece became a ruin. By 2022, the property had fallen into eerie silence. Windows shattered, walls open to the wind, birds nested in forgotten bedrooms. The pool, once sparkling under the sun, now sat still, a murky reminder of what once was. Today, this former jewel of the bay is valued at under $900,000. A million-dollar dream, undone by the sea. Middle Sedge Island is more than just a lost property. It's a warning that even the grandest creations, no matter how isolated or luxurious, are never beyond the reach of nature. And that in the face of rising tides and shifting skies, it is not luxury, but humility that endures.